Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the Delta Green tabletop role-playing game rules by Arc Dream Publishing. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. Listeners should know that this podcast will include mature themes and scenes. All content, including names, places, events, companies, military organizations, and etc., which may bear resemblance to entities living, dead, or redacted, is completely coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your handler. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I am your handler this evening, Michael Diamond. We are back with our OCEL adventures in a piece where we are going to see some rather interesting events take place in a place in Montana. But before any of that, I want to thank you, the listener, and I want to especially thank you, the Patreon supporter, who helped make this show go and change and do all the fun things that it is doing and will do currently and in the future. So thanks a bunch. You can check us out over on YouTube and on Twitch as well. So search us out and see what we have to offer in the visual environments. We are going to begin with introductions, which will start to my right.
Hey, this is Miranda playing Dr. Aaron Weber, your friendly neighborhood chemist. And I feel like we're pretty close to just putting a nice, neat little bow on this mission.
Oh, yeah, me too. Next to Dr. Weber.
Hi, this is Nate, and I play Elliot Winters, Special Analyst with the Department of State. Now that we've infiltrated ABC and found some evidence of their terrible deeds, I think it's time for some OCEL justice.
Oh, I like that idea. At the end of the table.
Hi, this is Allie, and I play Special Agent Joanne Hart. And I'm sure that this will all go swimmingly, that this plan is not going to have any hiccups, and that the freezer will not be too cold.
Let's hope not. Last, but most certainly not least.
Hi, my name is Tegan, and I'm playing Brett Young Buck Hawking. I don't know, guys. I think we should just burn it down.
And that's a fair assessment. Absolutely fair assessment given the circumstances of burning. So when we last left our agents, they were deep in Lab 6, and they had seen several horrifying things within the lab, including a living, dead man. They had found Thomas, sometimes called Tommy, and it was clear that he was both coherent and yet pale and dead. And while those two ideas mixed together like a strange cocktail inside people's brains, he'd made it fairly clear that he really wanted out. Really bad. Perhaps to serve up some justice. The aforementioned justice. To the people who'd put him in such a terrible state. It was at about that time that several members of OCEL noticed that camera, which sat outside the office, was picking up people outside the door that was covertly hidden behind one of these walls within the facility. And that someone had noticed that they had monkeyed with the keypad, and several guards had begun to arrive. They had noticed one woman in a lab coat and several guards. Now, they are aware that there is more than a dozen or so guards on site right now at ABC. There are 4 of them outside in this hallway. There are no other ways that they have found out of Lab 6. One way in, one way out. And so I'll turn back to our agents and ask them what exactly they plan to do about that.
Well, I guess since it was my idea, I'm going to go over to Tommy's cage.
Okay.
Wait, Hart, do we need some sort of protection ourselves before you let him out?
I don't know.
Like one of those things that like a dogs don't bite you?
No, Dr. Weber, I do not have any protective gear. I'm going to... Unless you want to talk to him.
Nope, I'm good. Thank you.
He's responsive, Hart. Just set the plan with him. I think he's got the same idea as we do. I think he wants the same goal right now that we do.
Okay. So I will go over to the cage. Is he behind like plexiglass or something?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, thick plexiglass that's locked. There's a plexiglass cage, and it's locked up, and he is definitely focused on anybody that really comes near the cage.
All right, Tommy, I'm going to let you out. There are people who are going to be coming in. They're some of the people who did this to you. Do you want to help us let you out and help you get some satisfaction for what they've done?
His muscles don't respond like your eyes do. Like, he doesn't have reasonably smooth control over all of his facial features or muscles. And so when he looks at you, his eyes move, and then eventually like the rest of his mouth and face sort of move towards you. There's like a keen delay that happens. He opens his mouth, and you can see that like his tongue has grayed, and so has the inside of his mouth. He looks at you very intently, and in his hospital gown, which is all he has on, he says 3 distinct words to you. Let me out.
So, I guess, is there an easy way to let him out, Handler? Like, is there a button? Or a keypad? Or, like, a door handle?
There's a button and then a bar handle that you'd have to move. It's likely a magnetic electronic lock that can be overridden by the button, and then you have to actually physically pull the bar, so that way the cage door will open.
Okay. So, is young Buck over, like, watching the door? Is that what's going on?
Are you asking me what I'm doing?
Yes.
Anything you want me to do. I mean, I'm mostly like just ready to shoot this freak of nature in the face with my gun if they make the wrong move. So while I'm definitely keeping an eye on the exterior door, to me, the closest threat is the thing you're about to let out of the cage.
Right. So this room it's fairly small, right? In general, like the freezers and this cage are all kind of in a fairly compact area. Like it wouldn't be hard to get from here to one of the freezers.
No, it wouldn't be hard at all. Like, there's a thin pass-through that you came through to get into this section. So I'd say that this section is probably no more than like 10 by 15. If you add the cages onto that, it's probably like 15 by 15. There's that thin pass-through that goes into the main portion of Lab 6. That portion is probably closer to like, I don't know, probably 45 feet long until it gets to the doors.
Okay. Agent Winters, Dr. Weber, I think our best bet is being as close to that back freezer as we can be, so that when we when I suppose, more correctly, let Tommy out, well, we'll have a place to go. I think we should wait until the doors that we came through starts to open. I don't know exactly how fast he's going to move, but I want to make sure that he has time to reach them without putting us in danger, hopefully.
Yeah, that makes sense. You think we could open a door? Like, remotely?
I don't know. You'd have to take a look around, I'm sure.
I'm gonna take a look around, see if I can open the door remotely. Because if we could let Tommy out and then somehow get us in the other room, close the door, open the other door remotely, I'm gonna look at the door options here.
Okay. Agent, what's your alertness?
50.
So with a 50, I will give you that there is a release for the main door. It is in the larger section. You can see it on the wall. You remember how slowly the door opened, right? Because they're 2 big double doors. They're almost like emergency room operating doors. So they open in, that accordion fashion to let in large spaces and large objects to be moved through. And they take a little time to open. Right now, it's fairly clear that the person in the lab coat outside of it, and then the guards that are outside, are probably trying to figure out how to open those doors too. Is it feasible to pack you all into one room and then sort of spring Tommy from the cage and have him go? Yeah, sure. I mean, you could go into the main room, hit the button, come back into here and have somebody hit the button and yank the cage open, and then it gives sort of Tommy a clear runway to do whatever it is that he's going to do. Is there risk involved? Yeah, sure. Because if Tommy goes back on his word and decides to just try to manhandle all of you, you're all in the same space with him. But life's full of risks.
Ain't that true?
Do it. They're coming in a second. We got to make a choice. I say go for it.
I think it's better if we open that door. They'll be wondering what's going on, and then Hart, you let that thing out, and so I think it might be better if we open that door, take this bull by the horns, set Tommy up on them. Y'all can sort of go huddle up in that freezer out of the way. Are there any, I'm going to look around, are there any tables or anything like just loose, like furniture?
Not loose, no.
Oh, okay.
Not loose, no. There's probably a rolling high table, like stainless steel high table. You might be able to, unstop the feet on it and be able to get it to roll, but that's about as close as you're going to get.
So here's what I'm thinking. Hart, here's what I'm thinking. If you let Tommy out, I'm going to go pull that lever. I'm going to run back in here in this room with you, and I'm going to pull this table over here in the corner, sort of give a barrier between Tommy and I, and then just we can point him towards the door in case he needs a little bit of encouragement.
Okay, so where are we putting Weber and Hawking at that point?
Yeah, where are you putting me at that point?
What you guys doing? Here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what Hart's gonna do. What you two doing?
I'm going to protect you from the dude you're about to release on the other dudes.
I like that.
And I'm going to protect myself. I also don't want to get bit because I think that that's one way that it spreads.
Could be. I mean, that's how it is in the movies.
Just saying.
Let's do it. Pull the lever. I run back towards the back room. I pull that table over and just create a little barricade. And I just start pointing towards the door and looking at Hart.
I love it.
If I have to, I'm gonna jump over the fucking table and hide behind it with Agent Winters.
So once you hit the external button in the other room, those doors start opening. There are lights that go off. There's no klaxon alarm, but there are lights that start up in this room, flashing lights. You skirt back through the small space to get into the space where Tommy is and the rest of you are with those three freezers, and you hit the button to release the door that holds him inside. And then you have to pull hard on this bar to allow the cage to open. You pull on it, and it doesn't take more than about half a second when you pull on that bar and you begin to back up to take cover behind the table, that Tommy pushes off the back of the cage and puts his full body weight towards the front of the door. When he does so, the cage door slams open, and then it sort of whipsaws right back towards him. He gets half out of the cage, stops the door, and then you see him take a moment and take a firm step outside the cage, and he looks at those of you who are behind the table, and he takes the bar that was holding the door closed and he rips it out from its socket, and he begins moving out of the space.
Is he coming towards us?
No.
Tommy, they coming. And I'm just pointing over towards the door, and I'm gonna get my sidearm loose and ready as well.
Yeah. You hear it before you see it. You hear a lot of expletives. So some similar noises that you've heard before, Winters and Hawking, and that is the sound of M16s being racked and prepared for firing.
Sweet. I don't want to be in that line of fire.
The gunfire starts, and you hear a lot of screaming. Bullets impact where you're at. You can see at the far wall, if you're behind that table and you're all, pistols ready, etc. to go, you can see trace amounts of gunfire and bullets enter that space. And then you hear a very distinct, throaty roar. And then a lot of really loud banging sounds. And then gunfire.
Has the screaming stopped?
and more screaming and more banging sounds. How long are the four of you staying in there?
Until most of the screaming dies down, anyway.
I give it a 4 count, and then I'm going to go over towards the doorway and get a view. And if I have a chance, I'm going to help Tommy take out the trash.
I'm tactically covering Winters.
So you do a little bit of Overwatch on Winters. For your part, Winters, what you see is, well, quite frankly, it's a little amazing. You watch Tommy actively get shot by high velocity rounds, and he does not stop. He keeps going. And he is just being, well, a little uncivilized, a little brutal. He's there's no finesse to his game. It's all strength and physically overpowering people. It isn't too far after that you realize that he's probably taken out 3, maybe 4 of these guards by himself. The bullets, they impact him, but they don't seem to do any sort of like long-term appreciable, they don't slow him down. There's no real damage that's going on, it seems. For his part, the bar that he was using still has the handle on it, that pistol grip handle to open and close it, and that's what he's using as a handle to. It's just an improvised bludgeoning device, but he cracks some skulls for sure.
You know, Brett, I thought this. I'm speaking quiet. Brett, I thought this might have taken out both our problems, but this thing ain't even pausing. He's full of bullets and he's not even slowing down. We might have a frying pan fire situation here.
Yeah. Let's we got the source. Now we need to cap this well. What are we gonna do?
Oh, I thought we were using the airstrike.
Oh, is that right? Oh, did I forget that? Did I forget about an airstrike?
Well, we're still here. Well, there was a tentative airstrike, but I think he needed time. And also, we didn't confirm an airstrike. He pretty much said we have to have evidence of what is happening. We have to bring back evidence. And then he would requisition for us an airstrike. So we don't have one on hold waiting for us. It would take time.
Grab a monkey out of a cage. Let's go. Now we can be like, look.
Ooh, yeah, so then we just fight one with one? Oh, you mean the monkey is the evidence?
Yeah, dog head, monkey in cage, source.
Maybe just take a picture. Well, I think he just wants us to have evidence. Like, I think maybe he just trusts our word.
So if I could interject here just slightly, no one has mentioned an airstrike. No. What has been mentioned was that it is possible to go to the local, like there is a base that is reasonably close, and that they could leverage actual military troops, but it's not an airstrike.
I feel like we called it, maybe we, us four, or some of us, have called it an airstrike, and when we called What's His Bucket, our in-game handler man, we called it maybe an airstrike at that point. But regardless, we don't get no backup until we have proof, which really, truly, we have proof now, but he pretty much said it's going to take time, and he's just not going to do it on our whims.
I don't remember this proof. When I called Drake, I remember him telling us we had to be decisive.
We had to confirm.
Yes, it had to be a yes or no, not a maybe, but I don't remember him asking us to bring out proof.
Proof was maybe a strong word, just that we have to confirm, and it couldn't be a, we think this place is doing this. It had to be, we know this place is doing this, like we have seen it, proof being with our own eyes. So I don't think we need something, but Burger, that's really neither here nor there, because that's going to take some time.
It was a New York City yes, not a Midwest yes. I think that was Drake's request.
I say you just call him and you go, the dead are walking.
I'm not sure I'd phrase it that way, but yes.
No. The punctuation is screaming. You scream afterwards, and then you abruptly hang up.
So then a backup plan.
I hand Weber the sat phone.
Want me to call him?
I just hand you the sat phone, and then I watch to see what Tommy does next.
Hart, get up here. You gotta check this shit out. It's like blood, goo everywhere.
What he does next is he takes a nearby security guard and pins him essentially to the wall with one arm, and then drives the bludgeoning weapon into him and creates it and uses it as a piercing weapon. And then the man wriggles a little uncontrollably and drops. Tommy drops the bludgeoning weapon and grabs this person in a lab coat nearby. And you see him speaking very intently with this person. You can't hear what he's saying because he's a little far away, but that person is shrieking at the top of their lungs to be let go.
Is there a means to get out past, around what's happening, what Tommy is doing? Or are we essentially, did we paint ourselves into a zombie corner?
Yeah, so you did paint yourself a little bit into a zombie corner. You could feasibly get out where he is past the double doors, but then you would have to pass Tommy to get beyond the stairs and then into the wider parts of the building.
But we're cool.
Maybe.
So here's a thought, guys. We could start the fire, the opposite of that song. If you can get me to the environmental controls spot, I can start the fire and would just call the guy on the way and just update, tell him what's going on.
Got my gun still out. Tommy, I'm coming up behind you. I'm going to take a couple steps towards him, and I'm just looking to see what kind of reactions he has.
He's really focused on this person he's got a hold of. Interestingly enough, he's not harming them.
Yeah, I noticed that.
But they continue to point, they start pointing in a direction down the hallway. And that's where his full focus is, Winters. He does not seem to be paying attention to anything else.
Tommy, listen to me. You got to understand, Lynn's in here, and Lynn is in here. Lynn is in the place tonight. So we got to get her out. Do you remember Lynn?
He turns to you.
I'm still trying to, I'm half expecting him to know or not know anything. So I'm still evaluating if he's showing any kinds of responses.
Yeah, when you mention Lynn, he turns to you. He seemingly casts off this person in a lab coat as if they're not useful anymore. They collect themselves and run shortly thereafter.
Whoa. Can I was focused on lab coat man. Am I able to intercept that, or is that not possible?
You could run after them. You could certainly run after them.
Yeah, I want to tackle this dude. I'm good at tackling.
Young buck, let's see you tackle somebody.
What do I need to roll for? I want to tackle this dude's legs. Give me his shoelaces. I'm going to get him with my teeth.
I'm imagining it's unarmed combat.
Hell to the yeah. Unarmed combat. Am I good at that? Fuck no. That's gonna be a 95 over 40.
Okay.
I slip on the blood.
You run after them and you sort of dive, and they slip through your net of fingers and arms, whatnot, and they begin to hustle down the hallway, screaming that there's a monster. They've let the monster out. I love that for you, by the way.
Thank you.
Can I begin beep, 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 calling our friend?
Yeah, please do. So you place a call, and it rings for a little while.
Call 1-800-DELTA-GREEN.
Okay. So, yeah, after probably about 5 rings, it picks up. You hear a man's voice, who you've heard before, Agent Drake. Pick the phone up. Report.
Oh, hey, Agent Drake, it's Dr. Weber. I know that I'm not usually the one that calls you. Usually it's someone else, but that's okay. I'm calling you now. You may hear gunfire and screaming in the background. That's okay. We're in that place, the amalgamated bio, whatever. It's bad. There's zombies. They're making person zombies. I think we can burn it down if I can get to the environmental control. But if this is the time for you to, if you had a go team thing to do, it would be it, because We just unleashed the zombie on the bad guys with guns.
You hear a very trained level response. You did what?
Well, okay, so they were coming for us and we only had some weapons, but he was a really good weapon. But it's cool because he's killed most of them, I think. The screaming's really died down. But we figured it was fine because we'll just maybe like burn the whole place to the ground with everyone locked inside.
No. That won't work. You have no idea what kind of body count that will create.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot. We could pull the fire alarm and then people would leave. That's a thought I just had in this moment.
I'll place a call to the local authorities and say that there's been an incident. They should arrive within 10 to 15 minutes. I'll place a secondary call after that. You need to get whatever evidence you can collect and get out of the building within the next 15 minutes. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Good. I should have sent more body armor. You hear the phone like disconnect.
What do you say?
Okay, so he said we have to be out of here in 15. He's going to make a phone call and then he's going to make another phone call. Didn't sound like they were going to be good. And also, he did say evidence this time. He said, get as much evidence as you can.
Okay, so I'm going to stop really quick and just give Winters and Hawking a note. When he says he's going to make a call and then make another call, in military, especially parlance, what it seems like that he would intimate is that he's going to call for immediate local backup. The secondary call he's making is likely the stuff that you don't want to be around for.
He said 15 minutes. What are the chances that I have a disposable camera on me?
Not good.
Okay. But, like, they were pretty popular in 2001, just saying.
Can we flip a coin?
Certainly. If I'll say this, if you would like to roll luck 50-50, I'll take a 50-50 roll. And you are right that smartphone camera, they were pretty popular.
I remember hitting them so that they flash. Dr. Aaron Weber rolled a 6 under 50.
So in your bag, you have a camera. It came with, 20 some odd shots on them?
24.
I'm going to roll a D20, and I'm going to determine how many shots you have left on that camera.
Okay.
You have 12 shots on that camera.
And the rest are like pictures of the dog. Just pictures what no one was expecting. I'm taking little pictures of everyone else in the group. Yeah. In the car.
So this is the best absolute double extra secret spy group of all time. You've been taking candids of us on the operation?
They were just for me. They were for my scrapbook.
So what I would like from our 4 agents as you are going to eventually move beyond this space is I would like you to roll sanity versus violence. Because what you have seen here is that four guards have been beaten to death viciously.
And we helped.
That's one way to put it. Let's go ahead and report in order, if you would.
Fuck yeah, I passed.
3 under 44.
65 over 49.
40 under 62.
Okay. So for everybody who passed, you're going to take 1 point of sanity loss because that's pretty gruesome. Agent Hart, I'm going to roll a d4 for you and see how much you lose. You're going to lose 4 points of sanity.
Okay. So just so everyone knows, I was only 1 point away from breaking. So I have now broken. I've hit my breaking point.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm in fact 4 under my breaking point. So, yay.
So those of you who passed can tick the adapted to violence box. All right. So every time your agent's sanity is reduced to his or her breaking point, he or she gains a new disorder. Immediately reset your agent's breaking point to your agent's current SAN minus POW.
Does this kick in automatically?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Okay. So, Agent Hart, when you step out into this space and see the situation that you've wrought, you become sort of fixated on the idea that you caused this. But you don't become fixated on that idea in a bad way, at least to you. This just shows your effectiveness. This just shows how good of a job you can do when you're left to plan things. And that's why decisions really should start running through you. And so the disorder I'm going to give you is megalomania.
Yay, so I'm a megalomaniac who has periods of detachment. That's definitely not worrisome or anything.
Not at all. Sure, everything's fine.
You are all set up for an amazing career in politics.
Right.
Okay. So Tommy turns to the group of you and says, "Where's Lynn?"
She's working, Tommy. You know, she's doing her job. Who was that scientist that you let go? What's that? Was that a woman or a man that...
It was a woman.
What's she going to do? Is that Thoreau? What was her name? Monroe? Something? Moreau?
No. Metro. That's who I'm looking for.
Well, we got 15 minutes. I don't know about you, Tommy, and the rest of y'all, but I think I'm going to dash up to Turner's office, grab everything that I can find in there, and then dash out of this place before it turns into a firefight.
Metro's office is upstairs. He turns and heads towards the stairway, which is right next to you guys.
I follow him. I glance over at the rest of us, sort of give a shrug, and I'm going to watch for a fire alarm on the wall because I think someone said that, and that seems like a good idea.
Yeah, well, there would have by standard there would have to be one within 15 feet at the bottom of the staircase. It's code. And you pull the fire alarm. And it takes about 3 or so seconds after you pull it for the bells to go off, but bells and strobes begin ringing. Just so all our agents are aware now, the ambient decibels in the area have gone from, like a calm, simple 50 to like a 90. In the time that it takes you to go to the pole station, Winters, Tommy is at the top of the stairs.
Good, so he's not wasting any time either.
It does not appear so.
We had that map, so I know that at the top of the stairs, I'm going to turn around. I'm just going to book it straight down that hallway. My gun will still be outside of my leg, so I won't have it up. And I will be, if I see people, I'll be just sort of yelling at them in an authority voice. And, there's a leak, everyone out, it's not safe, everyone out. Making my way to that office.
Okay. Tommy, you don't see him in that hallway. You see a nearby office door that's been battered open, and there's a bunch of thrashing going around in there.
Ooh, can I follow up on that?
Yeah, peeking in, you see that Dr. Montro's office is being tossed, and Tommy's not at all being quiet about it. He's breaking everything he can find. Like all their pictures on the walls, all the little awards, all the little things that have the doctor's name on them, he's just shredding.
Absolutely. I completely understand where you're coming from, Tommy, while I'm looking for any incriminating evidence on the desk. And I'm just emotionally affirming this dead man.
What's your scan?
It's 50. I'm a 50-50 on the scan.
With the 50%, you can easily grab probably a handful of documents that seem important that are on the doctor's desk.
Sweet. I've got evidence. All right, cool. Yeah. Fuck it up, Tommy. And then I back out of the space.
Winters, at the end of the hallway, a man appears in the Turner's office door. He's balding. He's probably in his 50s. He looks like he probably used to play football. And you see him looking around as the fire alarm is going off and seeing people flee. And he's trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
We haven't seen a picture or anything of this Turner fellow, so...
No.
And you said it's really loud in the hallway with the alarm and stuff going on.
Very.
So I'm going to keep going at Turner full speed. Well, who I assume to be Turner. Might be Turner's bodyguard if that's a thing. And I'm going to yell out, take a risk. Turner, we got an incident. Everyone's got to get out. We got an incident in 6. I'm just going to say 6 very clearly and crisp and see what kind of response I get.
Okay. So he doesn't respond as you might think. Like, his response isn't as sharp as you would expect when you sort of lay the number 6 down, at least the first time. And that could be because of the ambient noise. But when you get real incessant about it, you can see the realization sort of splash over this man's face. And he moves to duck back inside his office.
And I'm going to follow right behind. And I'm going to say it again. I'm like, Turner, this is a problem. Tommy and 6 is out. I'm going to raise my gun. I'm going to empty it into his stomach as I'm pushing through the door into this office. And then hopefully there's just a nice set, a couch or a chair or something, and I'm just going to push him down there to die while I look around the rest of the office and close the door behind me.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What is Agent Winter's dexterity?
You know that's not good.
I want to ask because I'd like to know who goes first between the two of you.
Oh, I was hoping that yelling at speed in the middle of all this chaos would have given me a leg up, because Agent Winters doesn't get a leg up anymore. He's got all these injuries.
Okay, so your dex, though, sir?
40.
So is your dex like 8?
It's 8. 8 times 5 is 40. I don't deal with these numbers. Those are no. I like the real numbers, the time 5s numbers. Those are the real numbers.
Right, I'm with you. Okay, he is a little quicker than you are, and so what I'll say is that since he was not armed when you saw him in the hallway, he's going to get the opportunity to go back to his office. He will get through the door. He will appropriate the weapon that he was looking for, and he will turn. But he will not have an opportunity to fire said weapon because he'll have exhausted his actions of moving and acquiring the weapon. So when Agent Winters comes into that space, his office space, you are staring down the barrel of a 50 caliber Desert Eagle. And now it's your action.
Well, ain't he a cowboy? Oh, it's the same thing. Blamity blam blam blam. I'm going to Yosemite Sam this fucker.
Make me a firearms roll, sir.
67 over 50.
You fire. The first round goes past him, and those of you who are also in that upstairs hallway hear more gunfire now. So since the two of us are in rounds, and I'm not certain where Agent Hart or Agent Weber are, maybe they could make that clear.
Dr. Weber, did you pull out the camera to take pictures?
Yeah, so you would hear Dr. Weber, you'd hear click as I wind the camera and click. Some of these are going to be moving shots, obviously. So they might be a little bit blurry, but yeah, Dr. Weber did take out the camera to take some photos.
Okay, so I'll go into the freezer that had the cats, and I'm going to pick up one of the moving cats and hold it out, like, so that you can like take a close-up shot of it without like getting my face in the shot.
Okay. So you two are still downstairs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's what I wanted clarity on. Okay, great. All right, so yeah, he is going to return fire on you, Elliot. And that gun goes off. So, Brett, you hear a high caliber pistol fire from the end of the hallway. It is definitely different than the rest of the gunfire you've heard.
Yeah, I'm gonna curse. Fuck! Holy shit! I'm gonna run towards the sound of that, but not around any corners or into any doors. That's where they get you. Doors and corners.
Corners and doorways. So for your benefit, Agent Winters, he misses you. And it's a real good thing he did. The size of, like the chunk of wood that comes out of his office door after he fires this thing is like a Christmas tree. Like its splinters go everywhere. There's an entire cascade. You're probably temporarily deafened just being that close to it, because he's pretty much at point blank range, even if the bonus for point blank didn't help. So, but if you're going to continue with your same style of justice, then if you're going to be point blank with him, you'll get 20% added onto your firearm skill.
Yeah, I'm not going to back down from this and send this Desert Eagle wielding psychopath down after the unvested, unarmed Hart and Weber.
Go for it. What'd you roll?
86 over 70.
Your firearm skill is 70?
Well, it's 50.
Oh, okay. I got you. I was just double checking. I'm here on the sidelines rooting for you.
Yeah, so was I. So I thought, with a 50 plus 20, man, that's... Or 66 over 50 if you like your numbers that way. Either way, I mean, that turns it into a critical failure. So does the 20 bonus add or subtract?
Yeah, you would add it on before the roll. So he's going to return fire. This is a really bad dance, I'll just tell you that. Because eventually somebody ends up dead. Okay, so Nate, let's talk about this. You guys sort of dance and shoot back and forth one another. You're both moving, obviously, in his office. Nobody's just standing still and shooting at one another. So he's moved to a different part of his office to try to gain cover. And he gets close enough to you with this enormous fucking pistol and fires, and it goes off. And when it does, the breech of the gun jams, and the round goes off in the gun. Like the round does not come out straight from as it's supposed to. It could have gets jammed and still detonates there in the clip. And so he's going to deal 1d12 damage to himself.
That's a hurting hand right there. It just really stings.
It's a 77 on the roll. Yeah. Okay. So of the 14 hit points that he has, he is going to sacrifice 9 of them for that critical failure. The gun, in all intents and purposes, blows up in his hand. Shards of steel and pieces go everywhere, including his right hand and likely part of the thumb and wrist. He shrieks in pain and collapses onto the couch that's in his office. He's sort of blubbering in pain. Brett, you are coming up the hallway. You of course would hear that sort of sundering steel on steel. You know what a misfire sounds like. You've heard them.
Okay, so I come on the scene.
You do, but Winters is going to get an opportunity to act before you're actually physically in the office.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, Winters. Make a choice.
So when that happens, so now I'll be even doubly deafened from all of this in this enclosed space. I'll make sure the door's closed behind me. I think I said I would close it, but then it escalated real fast. But I'll make sure the office door's closed. I'll go over. For a minute, I have a thought. I'm going to club this guy, knock him out. But that'll just kill him because he's already messed up and everything. But I will kick away the shard of metal if it's still there. And I will quickly pat him down for anything else. And I will look for something in the office that might be able to tie around his screaming mouth.
So I got to ask, if you were going to turn and close the door, are you closing that door directly on Hawking's face?
Oh, if I see Brett, then I'll wait for him to come in and then close it behind him. I'll wave you in real quick, slam the door behind you, and then start to secure him. I'm just going to tie him up. I'm going to look for something that I can tie him up with and try and tie him up.
That's cool. Hey, is he bleeding out through his wrist?
He's bleeding pretty bad.
Okay, I'm gonna need to tourniquet that. First aid? 50%.
But before you're going to do any of that, as far as first aid goes, you're absolutely going to roll sand versus violence.
Thank you. I deserve that. I want it.
You do.
I wanted that. And I succeed. 36 under 62. 61. 36 under 61.
Okay, so I'm not gonna take any sanity from you in this regard because this is nothing egregiously. You're not walking into a room with like a dead body with fresh bullet holes in it. This looks like an accident. As far as tying him up, There are some, I guess you could probably use like some of the curtain.
Is he wearing a tie? Is he a tie boy?
Yeah, he's wearing a tie.
Oh, for the tourniquet?
No, he's not anymore. I'm going to just take the tie off. I'm going to wrap it. I start wrapping it around to around his mouth to quiet him down. And then you say tourniquet, and I'm sort of disappointed, but I unwrap and I hand it to you. So you're going to staunch that wound?
Yeah, no, I'm going to staunch the wound.
I'm going to turn away from all this nonsense, and I'm going to go start rifling through the desk.
Okay. So make a first aid roll for me as far as Mr. Turner goes. Do you believe this is Turner anyway? Delving into his desk is, I mean, it's full of data. It's full of information about all sorts of things that they are doing. It would take you some time to read through the data that is here, but you see that Turner seems to concern himself mostly about what's going on in the Sapphire production area. Like that is the big and most important project to him. And there's a lot of data. There's also some communication within Turner's desk that seems to indicate he might have in South America, like covert background. There are some names here, Elliot, that you recognize, family names from like the late 80s, early 90s that really sort of set your mind on fire. Mostly drugs.
Yeah, cartel names? Is that what I'm sort of seeing?
A couple of cartel names for sure.
I'm going to look around. A guy like this usually has a briefcase. If I can find that, put some files, just put some, if there's any tapes, any documents, anything that is kind of interesting, I'm going to just pack it up into the briefcase. Then I'm going to go back to him, pat his pocket, see if he has a phone, see if he has any devices or whatever, put that in the briefcase. His wallet.
You don't find a phone, but you do find a wallet and a collection of what you think are like Rolodex inserts.
Yeah, no time to really look at that, but I'm going to put that in the briefcase too, close it. I'm going to look at Brett. We taking him or we leaving him? What you think?
Does he know things?
Oh, yeah. I believe he does.
All right. And then I'm going to hoist the man over my shoulder.
Okay, you hoist him up. As you hoist him up, the two of you pick up the distinct sound of incoming helicopters.
It's time to leave.
We got to go. We got to go fast. Let's go. Out, run.
And if I remember the map, there's a staircase right by, so that's where I'll just turn right and head down and start to make a retreat.
Okay.
Yeah, we're moving fast.
Okay, the two of you begin moving out of the building. I'll just really quick flash down then to Hart and to Dr. Weber. You two have had, we'll say, collectively about 5 minutes of time to yourself in the lab. So
Plenty of time to take 12 really good pictures.
okay.
It stops turning, and I'm like, okay, we're out.
You take 12 really good pictures.
Hart, we got to get out of here because he said on the phone 15 minutes, and we've already killed at least 5 minutes.
Okay. Are there like any like laptops in here that I can just like grab and go?
No.
Okay. Are there any backpacks in here?
No.
Oh man. Okay. I guess we're gonna leave. I'm gonna put Fluffy back in the freezer. Pat its head.
Are there any injectable vials in here
Yes.
for making zombies? Hart, grab some of those. Grab some of those. Ooh, one for I'll grab one too.
You don't know that they're for making zombies, but there are injectable vials in here.
Well, at least one of them might not make its way back to Delta Green. So I'll grab one.
Yeah, I'll grab another. That's fine.
Okay. And then where are the two of you going?
Wherever the nearest stairs are, or the nearest exit.
Exit.
Nearest exit.
Okay, so the nearest exit would be back the way you came out the front door.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and there's a fire alarm going off, so it seems normal for people to evacuate.
Certainly.
Yeah.
act cool, Hart. Just act cool. Like me. Follow what I'm doing.
Oh, don't worry, Weber. I got this. Don't worry. So I'm gonna have the vial in my pocket. I have my hand on my gun, which is in a holster, just underneath the suit, and I've got my hand put inside this suit I'm wearing.
Certainly.
And then, as long as it looks like there are still people rushing out, I won't need to worry about having my hand on my gun, and just out the door. Out the door we go.
Out the door you go. So the two groups of two move back out from the facility, albeit in slightly different time frames. They're probably about 30 seconds apart. If you're headed back towards the van, Lynn's van, because you don't really have any other transportation that you know, the production facility is on high alert. There are tons of people streaming out all over the place, and there are helicopters that are landing nearby. So on the grounds and beyond the grounds, several of them. And I would just say to our two, especially for you, Agent Winters, these helicopters are not civilian aircraft. These are military helicopters.
Do we see Winters and Hawking outside?
Yeah, you run into them.
So these are full loud helicopters, not like the cool stealth helicopters that they were talking about 20 years later doing that raid on the Bin Laden compound. These are loud helicopters.
The helicopter that lands at the pad area, so basically in the inner parking area where people are trying to group up, is a Bell Jet Ranger helicopter. The 5 people that get off of it are clad in black assault gear. They have what are effectively machine guns that are strapped to them. And when they get off the helicopter, they do not look like they are very friendly. So you'll have that as a slight interdiction when we get back to Delta Green next episode. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Delta Green, as played through by Ocel on the Old Ways podcast. We greatly appreciate listening ears, and we'll be back to see what happens next.